Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, hello everyone. You are once again welcome here on the platform for raising awareness. The front page of this international news that makes a lot of people laugh and that surprises the Western allies of Ukraine. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has just made one of the more ridiculous, the most dubious, and one of the decisions that shows how much sometimes Zelensky is a corrupt man. It shows that the allies cannot, maybe not continue to do it to him trust, to send him weapons. Yes, no one imagined that Zelensky could make such a decision. The decision concerns weapons received by Ukraine or even the weapons that belong naturally to Ukraine. Yes. Despite the billions that Zelensky receives, despite many weapons that they do not stop to ask, Zelensky today announced these last days that he wants to start selling the Ukrainian weapons, a category of weapons. Yes, you have it. Of course, Zelensky wants to start sell Ukraine's weapons. So, what is the content of this ad? Why he wants to sell and what type of weapons he is about to sell? This is what we are going to talk about in the framework of this video conference that I ask you to share with maximum. Always remember to leave the blue thumbs, to leave hearts. There you go. And so, let's go deep. According to official information, Volodymyr Zelensky wants to export his own weapons to finance the war. He wants to sell, in simple terms. He wants to sell his weapons. He wants to become Ukraine, wants to become an exporter. So many weapons he received. This is a surprising announcement from Kiev. Zelensky unveils new strategy. In his daily address to Friday, so it was Friday past, President Volodymyr Zelensky has claimed that Ukraine plans to sell certain types of weapons abroad. Yes, he wants to sell. You know, every evening he makes daily announcements where he takes the phone, he puts like that there in fashion like that, and then he speaks, he films himself. During this announcement, during this daily address to the nation, he has revealed this intention. For him, what is the objective? The goal is to generate income to finance military production national. Financing military production national. Generate income. While Kiev depends largely on Western aid, everyone knows that Kiev doesn't even have of weapons. The little that is still there, it wants to sell this. I don't know if you understand. So Zelensky clarifies that it will be a controlled export in order to avoid any deviation. This will be controlled to avoid any derivative. So already from the moment when he himself says that this will be controlled to avoid any drift, that means that there is necessarily will have corruption there. And besides, why sell weapons? Are there any weapons that are useless? In this Russian-Ukrainian conflict, which becomes a war of attrition, every day that God made, Russia needs of weapons. I say Ukraine needs weapons. So, how come now there, at the time when Ukraine's allies are firmly committed to continuing to supplying weapons to Ukraine, is during this moment that we say, yes, we will sell some weapons to finance national production, while there are several European states that have implemented billions of euros on the table. To Ukraine, and the Union European itself is considering to confiscate frozen Russian assets amounting to 185 billion euros. On the side, I think it was from Brussels for send to Ukraine. Great Britain also provided an amount of 25 billion euros in Russian money for send to Ukraine. The United States has decided to go all out. What else is Ukraine looking for? So, Zelensky cited the types of weapons that are concerned. First of all, he's talking about naval drones. These drones naval forces used successfully against the Russian fleet in the Black Sea. Drones, naval vessels that they themselves used with success against the Russian fleet in the Black Sea. These are the weapons he wants to sell, are these weapons that have become useless. However, Ukraine has used these weapons successfully. We also have the weapons anti-tank, part of which is produced locally. So this is the part that is produced locally there. Anti-weapons are the weapons that allow us to destroy them tanks. So maybe in his head and in his thoughts, as to this day, the conflict has moved to another stage, where it is the drones that are used. The conflict has almost left the side terrestrial to be in the aerial side. She wants to sell these weapons for produce local weapons that can allow to stop here are the spacecraft used by Russia. If we think like him, that's what that means. So there are some other types of weapons, not detailed, but probably production related. National Aerial Drone and Weapons Center Light. But wait, Zelensky doesn't care of whom, of his allies or of his international support. And it's still crazy. Can't put you there to say that you don't have no weapons. We decide to send you some weapons and then you say these weapons, you go sell them. Well, you're not going to sell this that we send you, but what you produce locally, you will sell this. See this, that's what it does. So what the implications may be and what are the gray areas? It must be said that according to the analyses, it's a risky bet on the planned military. If Ukraine sells part of its stocks, this could create an operational vacuum on the ground at a time when Russia is intensifying its strikes. Ukraine already regularly announces that he has an operational vacuum on the land. If Ukraine sells part of its stock, Ukraine is sinking. But that's clear. We wonder how ZK thinks. So military experts fear a dispersion of resources. Selling to finance is taking the risk of missing during offensives Russians. Today, he can sell the drones, naval drones, huh? What did he call that anyway? Yes, naval drones thinking that the war in the Black Sea is finished or the war in the sea is finished. But if Russia relaunches another Black Sea offensive, what is it Ukraine will do? So for the moment, the Western allies have not yet reacted, but the allies' Westerners might see this decision as a contradiction. Kiev constantly asks for weapons while announcing exports. This is a load of bullshit. And Russia has not yet reacted, but she will be able to use this speech to accuse Zelensky of monetizing the war instead of defending his people. And that is what that obviously means. Zelensky is waging war instead to defend his people. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, that was the front page of international news. We'll see. What will be the reaction of the allies, Western countries and Russia? We'll come back to talk about it here on your platform for raising awareness. Thank you. So to all, it was the voice from your humble servant, the Samouraï.